Welcome back, everybody. Today is going to be a real simple one. I'm going to actually just try and get out on some open water. If you guys followed my Instagram at DWSDave31, that would have been yesterday. I found a little bit of open water and a couple of bluegills wanted to play ball, and it got me going, so I'm going to go try and find a couple more. I'm going to take one rod and my panfish bag of plastics, and we're gonna see if we can stick a couple of fish. I really don't care about size right now. If you guys are looking for monsters, this isn't the video. But any of you guys that are loyal, you know what's up. I just want to get out fishing. So hopefully if you're seeing this, you got on some fish. Alright, so I drove around the world today for you guys. If you're seeing this, I got on some fish, but I mean, the most important thing here is I found open water. And I haven't been to this area in like 10, 15 years. I don't honestly remember the last time I fished it. All I have with me are my panfish rods right now because it's only open season, so keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully we got some fish today. I'm just happy I found open water. And thank Alright, as you guys can see, there is still ice on this body of water, but there's enough open water to fish. It's pretty windy out. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I hope you guys saw that. He's gonna swim right into my line. Hopefully you guys can see that real well. I'll find out after I look through my footage and stuff like that. That was a muskrat. He was swimming like 2 feet from me. Thought he was gonna swim into my line. Luckily I moved it and then he went under, but alright, so far no fish, but let's keep looking. So I'm gonna try and get this done before a million cars go by, and hopefully you guys can see everything. Hopefully I'm actually in view here. I just wanted to, we'll just wait till traffic goes by. I just wanted to get into a little bit more about spring fishing and stuff like that. There's gonna be a lot of traffic today. Okay, so obviously you guys seen I didn't catch any fish yet. I'm gonna still fish a little bit, but I didn't want to waste today, and I kind of want to help you guys out with it's like the pre-spawn right after ice out fishing bite, or things to use, I should say. Okay, so a couple of things I want to just get over real quick here is everybody should have a box of bobbers, slip bobbers, fixed bobbers, stick bobbers, I don't care, little bobbers. We'll get into more detail on that. I got a box of fly jigs. We'll get up close and personal with the rest of these things. I'm just going to go over these real quick for you guys while there isn't 100 cars driving by. For rivers and any other kind of panfish, any fish basically, a jig box. So standard jigs, round head, ball head. There's like a million, different jigs, but another standard jig box. I have a bag of plastics for panfish. This one actually says panfish right on it. And then I have two different, they're technically fly boxes. I think they're made by Flambeau. I got these at Lakeside Bait and Tackle in Delavan. They hold your jigs real nicely. One of them's got one kind of jig in it for me, and then this is my ice box. But in the springtime, I'm going to go over this in more detail. You guys are going to want to use your ice fishing jigs throughout that season, so let's get into detail. Okay, and I almost forgot, I have two ultralight setups right here. This one's got a standard jig on it. I think that's like a Lake Hoppins jig. It's actually a sickle hook. It's got some wax worms on it still. And then a super light slip bobber. And then the other one, my go-to, this stuff's actually listed in my description if you guys want to buy these. This is my Revo S10. It's a 1000 reel. That's another little sickle hook jig with, I believe, a crappie scrub from Kalen's. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of what we got going on. Like I said, there's going to be 1,000 cars driving by today. It's the weekend, so I kind of want to go over in depth on my plastics, my jigs, and kind of how I set up my bobbers for you guys. Obviously, it sounds really simple, but there's a lot of little nuances and stuff like that. So we'll go into my cast. Well, no, we'll go into the bobber setup first. Okay, so this is my kind of a go-to simple early season bobber setup. Like I said, I showed you guys this before. These are just two wax worms hanging on there still. I might, like I said, still go fish a little bit more today because it's really nice out. But this is one of those little simple, I don't know if you can see that, it's a sickle jig. So super light. And then this little tiny pencil bobber is it's a slip-on, and the way it works is when you slip it on here, you slide this little rubber piece as you move it up and down your line. But just those two things, that's all I have on here. I don't have any split shots, nothing big, nothing to make a big splash. Okay, so the big thing is well, like I said, I'll get into detail on this. So as you can see, I have a ton of these. I have multiple different colors. These are those sickle jigs I just showed you on that rod. And then, well, let's look into this stuff a little closer. Okay, so I showed you it, but so this is, like I said, this is a variety of jigs. Some of them are hand painted, some of them are like specific companies, like I think Lake Hoppin makes those jigs. These are floating jigs, you know, and then the variety of sizes and stuff. I got a couple hooks in there too. But then as far as bobbers are concerned, I have like every size you can come across, little, tiny, for different weights. So like you can see this one, but if you put it next to this one, you can see the differences. So those different size bobbers hold different size jig heads up different, you know, appropriately. So that's the big thing, is having everything set up the right way for when you're fishing this setup. Okay, so obviously slip bobbers and stuff like that are a pretty simple setup. for me, but not everybody knows how to use them. So one of these days I'll actually go into like a full detail thing on here. But slip bobbers have that hole in them, and I'm a big believer in the ones with this little, it's a brass grommet on there. It keeps your line from getting hung up going through it, and it won't dig into the sides because your line slides through it constantly. Some bobbers will actually end up with like divots in the sides and stuff like that. So I just spend the money on the nicer ones. They last a lot longer. Like I have, let me show you guys this real quick before we go on to something next. See how beat up that one is? This bobber's like 15 years old, or whenever they started making these. I had like 5 or 6 of them. Usually I lose them once in a while to like a walleye or a northern or something like that when you're trying not to catch those. But yeah, so slip bobbers, you got the bobber, you got these little beads, those go on your line, and then you have these slip stops. And I tie these up myself now. You just buy a bunch of this line and tie them up. These go like on the line. You pull this little plastic piece out and you tie the knot down, and that's your setup, and that little knot's that's how you choose how deep it's going to be. So I mean, it keeps it pretty simple for when you're doing that kind of stuff. So let's get into the casting thing. Okay, so this guy right here, this is my casting setup for the spring. This is actually a Jason Mitchell Elite 6'6" medium light, and it weighs nothing, and I like that about this one. It's my panfish rod. It's very sensitive, like you can feel the bites really well. And then like I said before, hopefully you guys can see that. I'm kind of blind here, that's why I'm squinting a lot. It's like a crappie scrub or whatever. This is one of the go-to baits, but I have a lot of different plastics I go through. And then like I said, this is that little sickle hook jig. But my favorite thing about this whole setup is this little Abu Garcia Revo S10. This guy right here has caught me thousands of fish. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but like the drag system on this is the reason I buy this one. That, and it's got this neat little thing. So if you back reel, you can do that, and then it collapses. And because of that, this is the same reel that I use all year round. And some of you guys will look in the description, and I'll let you guys know right now. I have it listed in the description, and it's for sale on Amazon. That's what I paid for it. It's like $110 or $120. I think I got it on sale because, like I said, I always look for sales, so I might have got it for $100. It's not cheap by any means. That's my, I spoiled myself with that reel because I wanted something reliable that I could use year round. For years, I used that thing for walleye fishing, pan fishing, everything that I want, bass fishing, you name it. I would just change out the line. Now I have the 2 of them. Like I said, I invested over time. I've said it in previous videos, but let's get into a little bit of detail why I set that crappie scrub up the way I did. Okay, so right now that crappie scrub has one of these tiny little guys on here. These are like 1/64 or 1/32 ounce jigs. They're tiny. They might even be less than that. That is for the very beginning of the year, and then you'll see they progressively get a little bit bigger. And obviously, no surprise in my color schemes here, you guys know them. They work. So if you guys want to steal any of those color schemes, I don't care. You'll catch more fish. Okay, so like I was saying with this crappie scrub, a big reason, if I can get this untangled, a big reason I like using this thing is because not only is this really good for it, but pretty much any really light plastic. I have a bunch of plastics that I use in the spring. I kind of use them most of the winter too. You can use this in the winter if you really want to. But like I said, this is going to be one of those things that the only way to put it is it's got the proper fall rate, and you see how small that is. I showed you those bigger ones. I don't need to show them again, but like progressively as the water warms up in the spring, that's something you guys have to pay attention to. If you don't have a boat or anything like that, you just got to kind of pay attention to where the fish are moving and how active they are. When they get more active, you can usually run a bigger and bigger and bigger jig head. For instance, these guys are some of my top producing jigs. I do use other ones. I have, like I said, I have this box. These are all my winter jigs, but so many of them cross over into the springtime and even summer. You can use your jigs all year round, so there's really no reason to put them away. And these guys are those, it's the JB Lures Hothead jig, and the reason I have so many of these, and you can obviously see the color schemes and stuff once again, they work. They just plain work. I'll put a video up here if you guys want to step out and see these guys in action. Big bluegills love them. I've gotten crappies on them. My favorite thing about these things, honestly, to tell you the truth, like, aside from the fact that they look like a bug already, and when you put like a plastic or anything on there, but just like, if you guys can see that, like, the shank on the hook is really long from the eyelet, and that is why I like these, because it gives you a really good hookup percentage. Just give them a try sometime, you'll find out they really are one of the better jigs out there. Okay, last but not least, we'll get into, this is one of my favorite ones for when I get up north and I'm fishing either a really natural bite or like a real Northwoods lake, kind of, you know, the lakes that you just get to and there's really just no pressure on them, and they're really on, they key on a real natural forage, are my hair jigs. Let's look at these guys. Okay, once again, color schemes on point. Oh, Ice Junkies plastic chilling in there. I think that's a spider monkey. I must have been switching it out in the last spring. I just never put that away. But anyways, ADD. Back to the hair jigs. These guys are some of my go-tos because, as you can see, if I can get one of these guys, this is so hard to pick up while you're looking through a camera. These guys worked last year really good. So as goofy as they look, and I know a lot of people, like, they don't understand. Okay, so I finally got one apart here. As you can see, it's a really simple dual color, and for whatever reason, this color combination up north on a couple of the lakes I fish works really, really well. This is a go-to in the spring. Obviously, like I said, I have some other colors. I got natural colors, some of the go-tos that work really well. For this box, basically is, like I said, it's the all-natural bite. When you start getting into the, like, bug bites, say late April, May, beginning of June, those bites really depend on, like, well, there's actually one right here, like a fly. So, like, you got to figure out what flies the fish are eating, and those baits can be fished underneath the same setup like this is, with just a jig and a bobber. And a big thing is to not use a split shot on there so they fall naturally. And then I'll let this truck go by. Apparently he's got the right idea. He's got a boat. It should be out in my boat. But I didn't feel like driving that far today. Like I was saying about the slip bobber, so when you set it up on a standard bobber where it doesn't fluctuate in depth and slip, these guys right here, the way they fall is kind of how you'll figure out, you know, whether the bite is on or not. And then obviously I have different sizes and weights for different fall rates, and that's how fast it falls through the water column, and basically how that falls is going to dictate whether you get a bite or not. And that, you know, you guys got to figure that out yourself. That's fishing. That's part of the fun of it. All right, guys, I hope that helped all you guys out. Try to get out, fish before the spawn. It's actually a lot better than you think it is. Gonna have to wait for this vehicle to drive by, but the big thing I wanted to do is try and give you guys like an edge, because a lot of people don't think there's fish. I mean, there's still ice out here right now, and sometimes you'll get fish right here in between the ice. And it's just, you know, if you got cabin fever, get out and fish. And that's my intentions of this video. I just want to hope you guys get out there and get outdoors. It's a nice day out. I had to get outside. I didn't catch any fish today, so it's okay with me because I was still outside and I got to help you guys out, with some stuff. A lot of people don't fish. So if you're not new here, you know what's up. But if you're new here, please just remember to